My name is David Ruff, and I am here to make easy all the things that you can do to create wealth in your life. I am here for your health, wealth, and happiness, and today we're going to figure out how you cannot be paralyzed by analysis paralysis. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is David Ruff, and I am head of Ruff Team Realty, and we are here to change the way that you structure your financial future so that you can become financially independent, and I'm going to show you some of the things to avoid to make you a lot more money. Hello everybody, my name is David Ruff, and I am broker for Ruff Team Realty in Toronto, Canada, and I am here to make all the things easier for you to make a lot of more money in your life for you and your family. The beautiful part about all of this is everything we do is applicable in all over Canada, different cities in the United States, Europe. It doesn't really matter. Math is math. I always say math doesn't care about borders. So today we are going to go over a couple numbers today on analysis paralysis. This is something that affects almost everybody in every field that they are in almost any decision that they're going to be in, whether it's going to be buying properties or whether it's going to be buying some type of investment. You're always afraid to lose money. So what we try to do is disseminate all of those fears so that you are in a better position where you can make more money and be less fearful of the risk that you're going to take. So today we're going to be talking about real estate paralysis analysis. We're going to be going through some numbers, and if you actually look at the numbers, you're going to find out it's not that scary actually. So real estate is something that's pretty amazing. Now we are in Toronto, Canada, but this can be any country, any city that you're going to look at. So just for you who don't know Toronto, this is about 100 kilometers or 60 miles for the Americans. 60 miles, okay? Now this is millions of people. So most people, when they're going to be looking at a property, are going to say, where on earth should I buy? Should I buy here, here, here? And this is all over the place. This is crazy how big it is. But you don't have to get that specific. Don't get buried in the numbers. You can break this entire city down, or any city. I don't care if it's Chicago, if it's Manila, it doesn't matter where, it's always the same. You'll have a core of the city where all the big towers are, where the majority of the business is. It's always the most expensive properties. That's the core. After that, you're going to have something that everybody calls the inner suburbs. The inner suburbs is the area where people will live on the around area, and they will drive into the city for work, for fun. Once you go outside of that area, a larger area, these are the outer suburbs. The outer suburbs are too far, generally speaking, for somebody to drive. This may take them an hour to drive into the city every day, and not everyone's willing to do that. So what we have seen through the pandemic, through COVID-19, is people were leaving the core and piling into the inner suburbs. The inner suburbs are where we've had the majority of the growth across the nations, because you can get more square footage than you could downtown, but you could still drive into the city. So the downtown core is where everybody wants to be. The inner suburbs are where it's drivable, generally 45-minute drive, something like that, during traffic. And then the outer suburbs. There's only three categories. Any city that you want to use. Always the same thing. So what we have to focus in on is our return on investment, or ROI. That's the most important number. Don't talk to me about purchase prices. It doesn't matter about the rent prices. All we care about is our return on investment, which is usually a percentage. That is what we care about. So if somebody told you, I made $50,000, I'm like, what's the next step? Did you invest $10,000 like in Bitcoin and make 50? I mean, that's an incredible return, 500%. But what happens if you had to invest $5 million and only made 50 grand? Well, that was a terrible investment. So it doesn't matter how much money you make, we need to know the percentage. And how do we do that on a real estate property is by the percentage of rent and the percentage of appreciation, to put it simply. But this is the cool part. When you look in the downtown part of a city, Generally speaking, New York, Boston, it doesn't matter if it's Toronto in Canada, Vancouver, in other countries, London, Paris, in the middle of the city, you generally are going to be getting around 3% return per year on the rent value, and about 12% is what we're hitting right now in city value in appreciation. But once you move to the inner suburbs have a different quote, a different number, 4% in rent. But guess what? The appreciation is slightly less, 11%. If we go to the outer suburbs, we now are making 5% per year on our rent, but only 10% on our appreciation. But if you notice these numbers, do you notice you take a lower percentage on a yearly rent, but you're accepting a higher appreciation level? Notice that? But do you find something curious about these numbers? When we look at this, all three, 5 plus 10 is 15% in the outer suburbs, 4% plus 11% appreciation in the inner suburbs is 15, 3% downtown Toronto with 12% on appreciation also equals 15. We are making 15% across the board. So if the question comes down to this, where we're going to make the same money anywhere we go, now it's just about assuming wherever you think is the best place to go. Do you want more square footage? Do you have extra piece of land that's farther out? Maybe you're in the inner suburbs and you see a new hospital is opening up. Maybe you see something amazing is just about to happen. They're going to put in an airport, a huge plant, something. You might want to move next to there because we'll get a bump in the appreciation later on. So that's just about lowering your risk, but the numbers that we make don't get buried in the numbers because property values are going up over 1% per month. Some areas 2% per month. And no matter how much math that you do, you probably are not even going to get it to go up more than 1% ever. So you can spend a year trying to hack your way by 1%, but every month you're losing 1 or 2%. So make sure that you understand we are making the same money everywhere. Just pick the place that has the lowest risk. So let's look at some numbers. I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And so my name is David Ruff and I'm broker of Ruff Team Realty. So you can always follow us on TikTok. We have a great channel there. We go live every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. You're welcome to come. And you can come and look at some of these numbers as we talk to help you create more wealth in your life. So let's just look at the past year. This is from August 2020 to July 2021. Look at what happened to the prices. Bam! Now what happened right at mid-March is when we announced vaccines were happening. So when the vaccines started happening, prices went bananas. Absolute crazy. So we've seen a leveling off of prices. So what we're running into, this is only looking at 1 year, and this is average prices of homes sold for everything. Every house, every condo, every company altogether is up 12% across the board. But that's not the entire story because we watch the news. A lot of the areas are up 35, 45% in 1 year. So this is an average of all homes in 1 year have gone from 900,000 to just over $1 million is the average prices of homes as a whole. So when we look at this in the past year, people are saying, well, David, if it's gone up so fast, maybe it's going to come down so fast. And that's the worry. That's what always is plaguing people. But I always say, you're not looking big enough. You need to look big enough. Understand where we're going. Now, so we back this up. This is a 3-year chart, okay? If we go to January 2019 to July 2021, so this is before COVID, the average price of a home, $715,000. $715,000, that's a lot less. And now it's over $1 million. So in the past 3 years, properties have gone up 42% in 3 years. Okay, so when we look at a chart over the past 3 years, it now is starting to look like it's straight up. You barely even see the COVID little dent that happened because over a 3-year span, you're like, wow, this is really doing very well. I always say zoom out, think bigger. Okay, so if we back this up, let's back this up even farther than that, 10 years. If we look 10 years back, properties 10 years ago were sitting just at $450,000. And today they're sitting over $1 million. 120% return in 10 years. Now that is the average, remember guys. Every property, from every company, from every realtor, every house, every condo, 120. But if you buy in special areas, in high demand areas, your return goes through the roof. Now let's go back. David keeps telling me, zoom out. Look at a 30,000 foot, like an airplane flying over. Look at the big picture. Look at a 20-year chart. If we're looking at a 20-year chart, back in the day, these properties were only 350,000, and now they're over $1 million. In 20 years, any single property you would have bought in the past 20 years, you'd be up 280% minimum. Most properties are up over 400%. But when you look at a chart over 20-year span, all of a sudden, the little tiny bumps that everybody is always talking about and worrying about, oh, it might go up a little bit, oh, it might go down a bit, up 5,000, up, down 10,000, it doesn't matter. What we're looking at is this straight line that goes from 20 years of properties going up. And why is it doing that? It's doing that because the governments are printing so much money, your dollar value is going down, so prices have to go up. Everyone will bring up, but David, what if there's a big crash in the economy? What if there's a massive crash? Fair point. We see what's going on, right? But we can always look to the history to see what happened. So everyone knows in 2007, 8, 9, 10, it was really, really bad in real estate. But if you zoom out and look at a chart from an airplane, like a satellite up in the sky, if we look at 2007 to 2010, it barely moved at all. We don't even notice anything that happened when you zoom out. So our big takeaway is buy for the decade, not for the day. Who cares what the price is going to be tomorrow, next week? What we care about is we're going to hold this for 10 years, and in 10 years, we're going to make a lot of money. Buy for the decade, not for the day. And if you do that, and you're always looking at charts over a long period of time, you're going to be much, much better off. Way, way better off. So let's now break that apart into two separate worlds. The first one is if we're going to be looking at just detached, semi-detached, like homes, not condos. Maybe townhouses, we just put that in. If we look at that in the past year, properties in Toronto for detached and semi-detached have gone up 44% in 1 year. 1 year. Crazy. 44% detached and semi-detached homes. But if we look at something like this, when we're going to go to condos, all of a sudden, condos are a completely different story. Condos, you'll see here, are 24%. 24% condos have gone up. So in the past year, they've gone from 537,000 to 667. That is the average condo price. And that's for the entire Toronto region. Of course, downtown core, inner suburb, and outer suburb. All of them put together. So if you look at that, and we go back to the homes, if homes were up 44% in a year, what do you think is going to happen when you see condos are only up 24%? That makes a big, big difference. That means condos have not come back to where they were before COVID. So condos is a place where we are getting amazing deals right now. Now Toronto, different cities have different prices, but in Toronto, way back, 2016, prices used to be $800, $900 a square foot. Today, you can still buy condos at $1,000 a square foot. Before COVID, they were $1,400 a square foot. Huge, huge discounts. So on properties, everyone's looking for square footage. Yeah, up 44%, which is crazy. 24% only for condos. Huge, huge capability for us to do something. So this is a great place. So let's take an example, for example, of a Toronto condo. This beautiful building is called Reve. This is 560 Front Street. So that is right at Bathurst and Front Street. right near where the baseball games happen and so forth. Very central area. You'll normally have a floor plan where you'll have like a 1-bedroom and a den, something like that. This is an entry level unit, but it's beautiful. And the area is where all the professionals want to be. So if we take a condo like this, they also sometimes will have these doll houses to give you an idea of what it looks like, you know, where you'll have your bedroom, your bathroom. One unit. This is about 645 square feet for this particular unit, and it will have a small little balcony that's there. 645 square feet. Now, like I said to you before, these properties are still going to be going for, on a luxury unit like this, about $1,200 a square foot. So we always want to make sure that we're looking at the size of the bedrooms. When we're going to go look at the bedrooms themselves, you generally want it to be at least 3 meters by 3 meters, which is 10 feet by 10 feet. That's what you want, or 9 feet. So when we're going to look at a property, oh my God, David, you're burying me in numbers. There's too many things, right? So property, yeah. All that we really care about is what is the price, the taxes, and the condo fees. That's all it is. It's very, very easy to do the math. Everything else is great. Sure, we can always look at how big the property is. We can find out what things are available inside of the unit, but all that really matters is price, taxes, condo fees. And we're gonna figure all that out. So how do you calculate that to make sure that we're going to get decent numbers? How do we make sure that we're going to get a good return on our money? So rent in this area is typically $4 a square foot. We already mentioned it's 645 square feet for the unit. So that brings us to $25.80 is your rent per month that you have to pay for a unit like that. That will bring you $33,540 a year in gross rent. Now, of course, we've got to pay taxes out of that, and we have to pay some condo fees out of that as well. So we have taxes at $24.99. Remember we saw on that list. We also have our condo fees at $512 a month, which is $6,000 a year. So our rent is $4 a square foot. We make $33,000 a year in total rent, and we have to take away $2,500 in tax, $6,000 in rent. That brings you $27,000 a year is for you. That's your money. So we'll purchase the property, $27,000 goes straight back to you. Now, what do you do with that 27? You're like, well, David, I have to pay a mortgage, possibly, but that's always a choice. You could always buy the place cash if you wanted to, but this money is for you. Now, is that the only money you get? A lot of people will read a book and they just talk about cash flow. This is not where you're gonna make your money, guys. This is how we're going to figure out how much money we have. So we're going to make $27,000 per year on that unit, but we take the purchase price and divide it by what the sale price of the unit was. So we made $27,000 per year on rent, after taxes, after condo fees, and we divide it by $776,000, which is the purchase price of the unit. If you do that, you come out with this fantastic ratio of 3.5. 3.5. That's amazing, right? Remember what I told you, in the core, we're generally looking for 3s. That's what we're looking for, just under usually. 2.7, 2.8, something like that, but right around 3% is what you're gonna get. Remember, downtown Toronto, we're looking for a 3% return per year on rent, 12% appreciation. That's what we're looking for. Remember, in the inner suburbs, 4% return for your rent, 11% is going to be what your appreciation is. And then if we go farther out, you're gonna go lower appreciation, but higher rent. At the end of the day, they all will be balancing out to the same numbers. Remember, 15% everywhere. That's what we're aiming for. So what is the bottom line? Where are you going to make more money? So in your first year, we already covered, we're gonna make $27,000 in rent. That should make you very happy. But is that it? That's not why we get into real estate. We pay $27,000 in rent that we have coming in. This unit is going up $85,000 a year in appreciation. Remember, we looked at the charts for 20 years back. When we look 20 years back, it's a straight line up. Remember, buy for the decade, not for the day. So if you do so, you're gonna see even through any recessions and something, it all smooths out. So if we're gonna make a nice $85,000 on appreciation, which is amazing, we're also gonna be making $20,088 in principal paydown in our first year. Incredible. So if we add this up, we now have made $132,000 in a year in investment. That's what we're going to be making on our return, $132,000. Now, I don't know about you, but a lot of people don't make $132,000 a year. We want your dollars and your units to be making more money than you do. Quit trading your life for money and get your buildings and real estate working for you just as hard as you work. So we can make this much money, $132,000 in a year on one unit. And the best part is, if you use your taxes properly and you use tax specialists and accountants, you now get depreciation off of this. You can use tax write-offs and tax credits. In Canada, we call it capital cost allowance, to drive down your income so you're not paying as much taxes either. Then you'll get a fantastic salary if you do it properly, which is fantastic, right? So you guys, we want this to be the roadmap and the blueprint for you to move ahead and make a lot more money with your life. My name is David Ruff, and I'm here for your health, wealth, and happiness, and I want you to give me a call anytime. Go to ruffteamrealty.com. Happy to help you in any way. We're in beautiful Toronto, Canada. We're right downtown. We have agents that work all over the greater Toronto area, from Hamilton to Barrie, out to Oshawa. That entire area that I showed you, that is about 100 square kilometers. That's our specialty, but we are always here to help. We do have some courses that we are developing, and you stay tuned. We'll have some great stuff coming up for you soon. We'll see you next time.